Imagine fighting a war that you win. And for a reward, you're given property, being pioneers to a new place where no one has settled before. And in one generation, you get that property fertile, and then it's given away to new settlers immigrating to Canada. This is the story of Negro Creek Road, and the reason why this sign is being fought for by the Black community to be kept the way it is, as a marker of a vanishing past. Negro Creek Road is near Williamsford in Chatsworth County. It's a dirt road that runs from Highway 6 across Concession 2 and stops at Concession Road 3B. Before settlement, this area was called the Queen's Bush. There were no good roads running through it, and Owen Sound was about 22 kilometers away, so it would have taken a wagon 6 hours with goods and kids to make it. Black Loyalists fought alongside the British in the War of 1812, and for their efforts received freedom and land. One of the earliest records we have is for Robert Jupiter, who settled Wellington County, Garifraxa Road in 1824, but he wasn't alone. With him were 50 other families identified in the census as colored, who settled in Negro Creek Road and Negro Lake. The land was filled with rocky cedar swamps. It was hilly and very difficult to farm. The idea was if the Black family farmed the land, produced, and built a structure on it, they would be able to keep that land and also buy the adjacent property. However, this became very difficult to accomplish because there was no roads to Williamsford, so many didn't make the conditions and were evicted. You see, the roads weren't opened up until around 1837, when Charles Rankin surveyed the properties. Even at that time, he noted that there were Black communities all through the area. But by 1858, any Black settlers still in the area were considered squatters by the people who held the power to issue the grants. So for 20 years, these families fought to make this land usable and farmable, and then within the next 20 years, it was taken away from them. So what happened in 1837? First, there was a massive immigration of about 10,000 souls who were promised if they came to the New World, they would have land and a job. But available property that was farmable and off of major roads were very scarce. So the settlers on Negro Creek Road and Negro Lake were in danger of losing their place. Then came a second wave of immigrants from Ireland, 90,000 trying to escape the potato famine. The census confirms that the area was mostly Irish, and any Black settlers that weren't already forced out to Owen Sound were considered at the time squatters. The last original Black family to remain in Holland County, the Earls, left in 1906 on the way to Owen Sound. Negro Creek Road really comes into the news in the 1990s. It was considered a racist sign by some, so they decided they were going to change the name of the road to Mogi. Joseph Mogi was a white settler that appeared in the census in 1851. He was responsible for building the school in the area and the church. So he was a good pick for them to say that the area could be named after. But Anna Scott, who was a resident of Negro Creek Road, knew the history and fought back, saying that the sign was the last marker of a past that was going away. She suggested that Joseph Mogi, his name be attached to Concession Line 2, which runs right up the middle of Negro Creek Road and is where the school and the church existed. Gravestones and road signs are a historical language, and removing them is akin to burning books or erasing history. Negro Creek Road is a story of Loyalist soldiers who first were marginalized and then reduced to squatters. And although it's not a flattering story, it's got to be one that's remembered. Remember, it's not a laughing matter, but it matters. So you've got to have a light heart and learn to laugh. If not, you'll cry. Next week, I hope to have an interview with some residents of Negro Creek Road and get their take on the history and their journey to keep that history in the light. I'd love to give a shout out to Sheffield Park Black Historical Museum, Grey Roots Museum and Archives, Anna Scott, and all the families we interviewed for this paper who were diligent about keeping the historical past.